morning, dear students. Now I am taking class 10, the 6th chapter, that is life processes. Do you remember what we have discussed in the last class? Can you recall what we have studied? Yes, we have studied about how the respiratory system works in our body through the lungs, how the exchange of gases takes place through the respiratory system we have discussed. In the earlier class, in the previous class, we have discussed about how the nutrition process takes place in human beings. Okay, all these nutrients, we learnt how the nutrition process takes place in the digestive system and also how the respiratory system works. Both these exchange of gases and exchange of the nutrients, transportation of nutrients is carried through the blood vessels. You have already studied about these things. As we have discussed in the last class, we all know this required nutrients throughout the body, throughout all parts of the body, throughout the cell, and the required amount of oxygen required for doing certain works in order to carry the energy. All these functions are carried through the blood cells. We all know all these materials, all these nutrients and exchange of gas and removal of the waste material from the body is carried through the blood. Blood is a fluid. Blood is in the fluid form, and it consists of a substance, plasma. The blood is in the form of plasma. This plasma suspends all the cells in it. All these cells body cells are suspended in the plasma. Plasma is in the fluid form. So this plasma transport all the required gases, nutrition and nitrogenous substances carries throughout the body. Not only these, there are many other substances like salts and minerals. All these things is carried through the blood. In order to function these, in order to transport all these systems, there should be some pumping system in order to push and pull to all parts of the body. In order to push the blood into all parts of the body, there should be some force has to be applied on the supply of blood. That pumping function is carried through the heart. Okay, our heart acts as a pumping system in the body, and in order to reach all the cells in the body, there should be some network system. So in the blood vessels there is network system. So through the network system, it have the small tissues, cells. It consists of small capillaries. Through that capillaries, all the required nutrients, gases is absorbed by the tissues for their functions. And there should be some repairing and maintenance of these blood vessels and the cells and the veins. So that is taken care by one more substance. Now let us discuss about how the heart works, how it acts as a pump. Let us discuss in our today's class. The pumping system of the blood is carried through the heart. Heart acts as a pumping system in the human beings, in the body. Okay, this heart is nothing but it is a muscular organ. It consists of muscles, and size of this heart is exactly similar to the left fist. The size of the heart is just exactly the left fist. So since this heart has to transport this blood, transport this carbon dioxide and oxygen to various parts of the body, it has 4 chambers. It has 4 chambers. So there is no mixing of this carbon dioxide and oxygen. So it controls the exchange of gases. So the carbon dioxide and oxygen does not mix with each other. So it have 4 chambers. The human body, here you can see the human being. Schematic sectional heart of the human being. Okay, it consists of 4 parts. It prevents the mixing of carbon dioxide and oxygen. So always the blood always enters through the in the this is the in the heart you can see 4 parts. Okay, they are left atrium, left ventricle. These chambers are left atrium, left ventricle, right atrium and right ventricles. These are the 4 chambers in the heart. So let us discuss the functions of these chambers. Each function of each chamber is different from each other. In the first step, I will explain step by step. Okay, in the first step, the blood which is rich in oxygen, the oxygen rich blood from the lungs, it enters through the left atrium. Okay, in the first step, the blood enters into the left atrium through the pulmonary veins. This is a thin wall. This wall of this pulmonary veins is thin. It enters through the left atrium. So when the blood which is rich in oxygen, rich oxygenated blood enters the left atrium, it expands and it will be pushed into the left ventricle. Then it will be pushed into the left ventricle through there is walls. This controls the flow of blood in one direction. When the blood enters the left ventricle, when the blood enters the left ventricle, simultaneously this chamber expands. Simultaneously this contracts. There is contraction and expansion. Once this transport the blood into the left ventricle, it contracts. Simultaneously this part, left ventricle, expands, and this control of flow of blood is controlled by the walls. There is one direction for the flow of blood through this chamber, through each chambers, and then this oxygen rich blood passes through the and when this left ventricle contracts, the blood will be pushed into pulmonary arterioles. In the next step, the blood flows through the pulmonary arterioles and pulmonary arteries, and it is supplied to all parts of the body. This have the long, little thicker walls compared to the pulmonary veins, and once the blood is supplied to all parts of the body, all these cells can use this oxygen rich blood. Okay, once the blood is used by the cells, it becomes deoxygenated blood. It becomes deoxygenated blood. So once the blood is used by the cells, it becomes deoxygenated blood. That deoxygenated blood is collected by the vena cava. Okay, the blood comes through the veins and it enters the vena cava. There are vena cava in the right side of the heart. Through the vena cava, the deoxygenated blood enters, and it enters the upper rightmost chamber, that is right atrium. It enters the right atrium. When this contains the deoxygenated blood, it will be expanded and it will be pushed into the once that blood is pushed into the right ventricle, it contracts and it simultaneously expands. And this control is here also. You can observe the walls. This controls the movement of the blood in one direction, and this ventricles pushed into the push the blood by contracting it. This deoxygenated blood is pushed into the pulmonary arteries. These arteries will collect and they will send it to the lungs to get the in order to remove this carbon dioxide from this deoxygenated blood. Okay, so this is how the process continues. The oxygen rich blood from the lungs enters through the pulmonary veins. First it reaches the uppermost chamber of the heart, that is uppermost left chamber of the heart, that is left atrium. That time it expands. Once it pushes it to the left ventricle, it contracts and it expands. And this through the movement of the walls, it will be flowed through the all parts of the body through the pulmonary arteries. Pulmonary arteries are the little thicker wall. Simultaneously, once a cell uses the oxygen, once a cell uses the oxygen rich blood, it will become used. So it contains large quantity of carbon dioxide. So the blood collects simultaneously. The blood collects all these. Once it is used, it becomes the deoxygenated blood. The deoxygenated blood is carried through the veins, and it will enter the vena cava in the rightmost part of the heart. It enters through the vena cava and it reaches the right atrium. Right atrium is placed in the right atrium is the uppermost chamber in the right side of the heart. Right atrium will once it collects the blood, deoxygenated blood, it will be expands and it pushes into the right ventricles. Once it pushes into the right ventricle, it expands, it contracts and it expands, and this blood will be supplied. This blood will be flowed through the pulmonary arteries, so it reaches the lungs. So this is how the blood carbon dioxide. This is how the deoxygenated blood enters the lungs. The lungs will remove the carbon dioxide from that blood. This is how the pumping system works in the body. This is how the transportation system works in the heart. This is how the transportation of blood carried throughout the body through this pumping system, that is heart. Heart acts as a pumping system. This separation of carbon dioxide and oxygen allows the high efficient requirement of oxygen for the animals such as mammals and birds. They require lots of energy in order to carry out the these mammals and birds have the large amount of energy in order to carry out the life processes, because in case of mammals and birds, they have the complex structure, and the structure is complex, and it has to be transported to all parts of the cells. It contains multicellular. The body contains multicellular cells, so they require high efficient of oxygen. High efficient of energy is required. So this separation of carbon dioxide and oxygen is required in these animals. And also the energy also used the supplied energy also used in order to maintain the body temperature. In case of mammals and birds, the supplied energy also maintains the temperature of the body, so body can function smoothly. So they require these four-chambered heart. In the mammals and birds, we can observe these four-chambered hearts. In case of reptiles, amphibians, they does not require this energy in order to maintain the body temperature. Their body temperature depends on the temperature of the environment. So they are cold-blooded animals. They are not warm-blooded animals. These amphibians and reptiles, their body temperature changes as per the temperature of the environment. It depends on the temperature of the environment. So in amphibians, reptiles, we can observe the three-chambered heart. In this we can observe three chambered heart. So they tolerate the mixing of this carbon dioxide from oxygen blood streams. It does not make such a big issue in case of amphibians and reptiles. In this picture you can see the three chambers in the amphibian heart. Here you can observe the heart of the fish. In case of the fishes, the blood is passed through the blood passes through the blood follow one cycle for the transportation. Once the blood enters into the lungs, once from the gills the blood enters the lungs and it is oxygenated and it is supplied to the body, and it again enters re-enters the heart in order to deoxygenate, and it enters the lungs. So we can, in the cycle we can observe one passage only. In this picture you can see the two chambers in the heart of the fish. Okay, this is a typical picture of the fish heart. In case of mammals and birds, we can see there is the blood passes through the body twice. Okay, the blood passes through the heart twice. There is two cycle in the, so this is known as double circulation. In mammals and human beings we can observe the double circulation of the blood. You might have observed whenever you visit the hospital, okay, first they will check the blood pressure. So what is this blood pressure? The blood pressure is nothing but the pressure or the force exerted by the blood through the to the walls of the blood vessels. The pressure exerted by the blood to the walls of the blood vessels is known as the blood pressure. Whenever this blood flows, there is we all know there is two types of vessels, that is arteries and veins. The pressure is the pressure exerted by the arteries is much greater than the pressure exerted by the veins, because arteries, the blood whenever the blood flows through the heart exerts more pressure. So the blood coming from the heart exerts more pressure. The blood which is coming from arteries exerts more pressure. So it is under more pressure. And the pressure of the blood inside the artery during ventricular systole, that is contraction. The pressure of the blood inside the artery during the ventricular systole is called the systolic pressure. And the pressure in artery during ventricular diastole, that is during expansion or the relaxation, is called the diastolic pressure. There is two types of pressure. One is systolic pressure, another one is diastolic pressure. The systolic pressure means during when the artery contracts, and diastolic pressure means when the artery relaxes. And the normal blood pressure is about the normal systolic pressure is about 120 millimeter of Hg, and diastolic pressure is 80 millimeter of Hg. That is the normal blood pressure of the person. And the instrument which is used to measure the blood pressure is known as sphygmomanometer. The blood pressure is measured by the sphygmomanometer. Okay. In order to transport the blood into all parts of the body, and in order to bring it back to the heart, there is two types of vessels we can see. We can observe two types of blood vessels. One is arteries, another one is veins. Arteries and veins. What is the role of these arteries? the role of these arteries is to transport all the oxygen rich blood to all parts of the body. Through the arteries the blood will through the arteries the oxygen rich blood will be supplied to all parts of the body. So they have the thick wall vessels. They have the thick wall. The wall of this arteries is little thicker because the blood is pumped to arteries with the high pressure. The high pressure, the heart exerts high pressure on the walls of these arteries. So they have the thick wall in order to transport the blood into all parts of the body. Once a blood is supplied to the all parts of the body, it is divided into, it is supplied to all the organs, all the cells, all the tissues. Okay, in the cells, in the tissues, these arteries vessels are divided into smaller and smaller tissues. Okay, so all the tissues can absorb the oxygen. So the capillaries play an important role in order to supply all the oxygenated blood into all parts of the body, all the tissues. So all the cells can absorb the required nutrients, energy and oxygen. So what is this capillaries? On reaching the organ or the tissues, the artery divides into smaller and smaller vessels to bring the blood in contact with all the individual cells. The smallest vessels have the walls which are one cell thick and are called capillaries. The smaller vessels have the walls. These smaller vessels have the walls which are one cell thick. The thickness is very small. You can't imagine the thickness of this. So it can be absorbed by all the cells. Once a cell uses the oxygen will become less in blood. So that deoxygenated blood is carried through the vena cava from the body. This capillaries, once it helps to absorb by the cells, and it will combine to form the veins. Okay, these are veins. These are arteries, and these are through the veins. It will be combined. It will be joined and pass through all parts of the body, and it enters the vena cava. So through the veins, the blood deoxygenated blood is collected, and it enters the arteries. Okay, through the vena cava, and again it is transported to lungs in order to remove the carbon dioxide from the deoxygenated blood. This is how the cycle continues. Now think about the situation. Okay, the blood is supplying, the blood circulation takes place throughout the body. If what happens, if there is any leakage in the blood vessels, in the veins or in the arteries, what happens to the situation? So this will leads to minimizing the amount of blood in the transportation system. So this leads to major injury. Okay, this may leads to lots of pressure in the pumping system. So the efficiency of the pumping system will reduce because of the loss of blood through the cells, through the blood vessels. So in order to avoid this, these blood vessels, this system have the substitution. Okay, in the blood we can observe the platelets. What happens whenever you are injured? What happens? These platelets will plug in that situation. They will clot. They will helps to clot the blood, and in order to and they will reduce the leakage of the blood through the cells, through the blood vessels. So these the platelets helps to reduce the leakage of the blood. So that will minimize the high efficiency of pumping system. Okay, Okay, there is one more interesting fact about these capillaries. Okay, in between the capillaries there is small intercellular space is present. Okay, this small intercellular space is occupied by the fluid. That fluid is nothing but lymph. Some amount of plasma in the blood contains a plasma, you all know, in order to clot the blood whenever we get the injuries. So some amount of plasma, protein and the blood cells will escape into this small intercellular space, and they will make certain they will combine to form one fluid. Okay, the cells are this intercellular space is occupied by the fluid that consists little amount of protein. That fluid is nothing but lymph. Okay, in the intercellular space there is one kind of fluid is present that consists of some amount of plasma, protein and blood cells. That fluid is nothing but lymph. Okay, this lymph is similar to plasma. This lymph is similar to plasma, but it is colorless. So these lymph drains into lymphatic capillaries. You can see in this picture the green color vessel-like structure. These lymphatic capillaries from the intercellular spaces, which join to form the large lymph vessels. They will combine to form large lymph vessels that finally open into large veins. Finally, they will form the larger veins. So, lymph carries the digested and absorbed fat from the intestine and drains excess fluid from the extracellular space back into the blood. So, what is the role of these lymph? Lymph carries the digested and absorbed fat from intestine to all parts of the body, and they drains excess fluid from extracellular space. They will drain the excess fluid from the extracellular space back into the blood. So this plays an important role in carrying the digested and absorbed fat from the intestine. Now I will show the video which explains about how the transportation system works in heart.
You can feel your heart thudding away every time you put your hand to your chest. But do you have any idea what's really going on in there, or what keeps your heart ticking as it should? Every day, your heart beats about 100,000 times, sending 2,000 gallons of blood surging through your body. Although it's no bigger than your fist, your heart has the mighty job of keeping the blood flowing through 60,000 miles of blood vessels that feed your organs and tissues. Food, water and oxygen are essential for the existence of human life. Blood transports all these substances through various channels called blood vessels. Blood vessels involves arteries, veins, capillaries. To keep the blood flowing throughout our body, we have a pumping system, and the heart is the pump, which is composed of muscle that pumps blood throughout the body, beating approximately 72 times per minute of our lives. The human heart has 4 chambers: the right atrium, the left atrium, the right ventricle, and the left ventricle. There are 4 valves in the heart. These valves are tricuspid valve, mitral valve, aortic valve, pulmonic valve. These valves are one-way valves. Now, you have seen the structure of the heart. Let us find out how it works. The blood becomes oxygen-rich by absorbing oxygen in the lungs. The function of the heart starts when oxygenated blood is carried from the lungs to the left atrium of the heart by means of the pulmonary veins. The left atrium relaxes, this blood is pumped into the heart. When the left atrium contracts, the left ventricle relaxes simultaneously. The left atrium pushes the blood into the left ventricle through the one-way valve. When the left ventricle contracts, the blood is pumped into the aorta, which carries oxygenated blood to the different parts of the body, except the lungs. Oxygenated blood reaches the different parts of the body through the blood vessels called the arteries. The arteries gets branched into capillaries, which then reaches to the different organs of the body. The blood then becomes deoxygenated, and the blood capillaries gets mixed and form thicker blood vessels called the veins. The veins carry deoxygenated blood to the heart. The blood vessels that carry deoxygenated blood to heart are known as the vena cava. The deoxygenated blood from different parts of body enters the upper right chamber of the heart, which is called the right atrium. The right atrium gets contracted, allowing the blood to flow into the right ventricle, which contracts with the expansion of the right atrium through the one-way valve. The right ventricle then contracts, pushing the blood into the pulmonary artery. The pulmonary artery carries the deoxygenated blood to the lungs for oxygenation. The lungs oxygenate the blood by exchanging of gases and flows back into the heart through the pulmonary vein, and starts the circulatory cycle all over again.
Dear students, in today's class we have discussed about how the transportation system works in a body. How the heart functions as a pump. How the pumping system works in a body. How the transportation of blood and the nutrients and the energy takes place in the human beings we have discussed. In the next class, let us discuss about how the transportation system works in plants. Thank you, students.